Yo, 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 welcome to Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar.
How are you today, Amilcar?
I'm doing great. It's my second full day as a full-time San Diego resident.
I guess we got to get to it right away. So in the transfer news, the city of LA actually, no, Amilcar has moved to San Diego on a free transfer.
Wow. They can't even buy me. It's free.
Well, yeah, you had nothing, no reason to stay, I guess.
No contract.
There we go. That's what I meant. Yeah, no contract.
Yes, that's fair. As of what, 2 days ago now?
Mm-hmm. Leaves LA with a lot of broken hearts.
Mine included. But yeah, no, it's been a good couple days. Craziness, just like, there's like stuff everywhere, which happens generally when you move, But how have you been?
Not bad, not moving, so good in that regard. But yeah, I agree. Moving sucks. You don't realize how much junk you have.
I know. I think we threw away like half of our stuff, which is necessary. At least it's a nice cleanse, I will say. So I can't complain about that.
For spring.
I know exactly.
Other than that, I'm good. San Diego sports teams in general had a pretty good weekend, so I'd say I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I think I just was saying that we just finished watching the Padre game against the A's. They won 5-4, and they are in first place. Let's go.
Woo-hoo. The Sacramento A's, that is.
I know, in that weird, transition season, I guess we can call it, between Oakland and Vegas. Do
you know where they're playing at?
No idea. It's probably like a minor league park, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
but I'm sure we can find
so.
that out. Good thing it's not a baseball podcast,
Yeah. Yeah, we watch a good amount, I would say.
Yeah, we do actually. But let's jump right into it. So SDFC beat the Sounders. That's right, cue you to go. There it is. Oh, okay, there we go. We're still learning the ropes here. Where's our producer?
Virtually, that is. Yeah.
So SDFC beat the Sounders 3-0. Do we have any firsts during this one, Mario?
We sure did. Our boy Chucky Lozano got his first goal, so that was really exciting. It was kind of like a replay almost of like the one-on-one he missed the previous week. This time it was kind of one-on-one. He was able to get it in basically, so happy to see that he scored, and he contributed to the other two goals as well. But he's on the board with his own.
There you go. So I think that was our own first that we had for this one. But we're soon to have probably a first place. We're in second place right now, but hopefully we'll have our first time being first. Hopefully coming in soon. But we have 14 points. We're two behind, I think. Is it
Vancouver?
Whitecaps? Yeah, and so we play them coming up soon.
Do we really? Oh, I guess so. You could say we are the first place team on the West based in the U.S.
There you go. It's like that's like one of those ESPN stats where it's like, this is the first time in history that a guy hit a home run at 60 degrees when it went like on April 13th, wearing a red shirt, with black hair. Like, wow, yeah, broke a record.
So when we play the Vancouver Whitecaps, if we beat them or they beat us, are the goals going to be, or the points going to be worth 3.3 points because they're 10% more? Or do you know how that works?
A little tariff. Yeah. Hey, I wonder how that is for like in terms of like paying players and stuff, because like if they're paying, I'm sure they do some sort of disbursements from like the MLS sends out to the teams. So it's like, is that stuff taxed? I don't know.
Oh, maybe
we should get our tax correspondent on here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a whole team behind us soon.
Yeah. You sure our producer, a tax person. We have a medical correspondent. We just haven't brought him on yet.
Yeah, exactly. So we're slowly getting there. But so what were your thoughts on the game? We didn't go to this game, unfortunately. Back-to-back home games, which is nice. Didn't get to go, but what were your thoughts?
I gotta say, I'm not often right in any predictions, but I think we were right last week. We said if you go to a San Diego FC game, do not be late. and we were right again. First goal at the 2nd minute, so we got going right away. And overall, I think we played pretty well. We were playing, I think, a team that plays a similar style with us, which is like possession heavy. And through the first half, they still had more possession, but we were able to just create more opportunities and ultimately put them back. I also felt that with Chucky and now our international players being back, I feel like the teams really kicked it up a level. They're playing at a higher level than they were. I feel like we got by basically without Chucky, but now that he's back, I feel like the team's really kicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, I agree. I think we had a pretty good game. The only thing I think is that it's frustrating is like you said, we did predict it correctly, but they also for the third game in a row did not score any goals or didn't give up goals, thankfully, but didn't score any goals in the second half. So everything happened the first half. Second half was just kind of passing the ball around, and not a ton of action. I will say I still think it's really frustrating to see like the finishing product like just not quite there. They did like obviously win 3-0, but there was probably 3 or 4 opportunities that were just right there for the taking that they just couldn't finish, whether it was like chipping over the goalie or not being able to dribble past the last defender. Because the first half they were just running behind behind the back line like the entire time, which reminded me a little bit of how Austin was exploiting us. They just had them running behind us, and their defenders could not keep up with Dreyer or Chucky. They were just blown right by them.
Yeah,
And by the time they realized it was too late.
yeah, I think we were really good in the counterattack. I really liked the second goal where Chucky had a really good pass that initiated that counterattack, and it was a good example where Dreyer went down the right side and then he centered it for. Or did he put it away? No, someone else. I think Negatives ended up putting it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a good. No, it was Anibal Godoy. And it was a good example to what you mentioned on the counterattack, and the team was looking pretty good. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the second half, I think they feel like the game is settled. I'm not sure, but there's been something that in the second half, even with Columbus and LAFC, where we had 2 red cards, like or one respectively in each game. Even
Mm-hmm.
then, we're playing a man up and we're not able to score. So it's kind of I feel the frustration in that sense because I feel like with 30 minutes left to go, which happened with LAFC and Columbus respectively, you're up a man. I almost feel like it should be like a guaranteed goal in a sense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we had spoken about last time, right? It's like they were getting there, they had a ton of opportunities, but they just couldn't put the final ball in, right? Whether that was like the final pass, the final shot, whatever that was, they weren't able to kind of put that together. And the craziness was like towards the end, I think in the second half, I want to say the last maybe 10, 15 minutes, Seattle looked like they could have easily scored a goal or two, and it was a lot of Dos Santos had some good saves, so it just kind of flipped on them.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of the Seattle opportunities were not so much opportunities that they created, but more so errors on the San Diego FC back line. Just easy mistakes. They lost possession and or bad passes. So I don't know what it is about maybe the dynamic of the team that just later on, I'm not sure. Like I feel like maybe there is a drop off in the quality of play.
I will say they had like three goal scoring opportunities in the last maybe 10 minutes, and it's just like such an absolutely frustrating thing when they try to play from the back the entire time, even when Seattle had like 6 people right there, but they're still so insistent on just passing it out of the back. I'm like, dude, Dos Santos, just get it out of there, man. Because it was like I didn't want to say in like a 5 minute span, there was probably 3 times that they lost possession in their own half, from, like the defenders, whether it was a pass from the goalie or if it was the defenders that lost the ball. So I'm like, when you're there, you're basically giving up a shot on goal right away. They just either missed it or had some good saves, but it's just like so frustrating that they just are so hard headed and want to go play out of the back no matter what.
And that's beneficial when you're winning, but what's going to happen when you have a minute or 2 minutes left on the game and you're trailing by one or you're in a tight game? You need to be able to create opportunities and you need to do it quickly. You're not going to have time to develop the play all the way from the back and slowly like drive it to the front and actually create an opportunity. So hopefully we're not in that situation, but at some point in the season, we're gonna get tested, and it's bound to happen.
Well, and the thing is also like the way you want to, like, think people are looking at these games right now. It's like all these other teams that haven't played us yet. They know that's like a big weakness. You know, if you put pressure on the back line when they're just playing from the back, they're easily going to give the ball away. And it, like I said, it wasn't once. It wasn't like a fluke thing. It happened like 3, 4, or 5 times in the last maybe 10 minutes when they were really pressing. So that's going to be definitely one of our weaknesses, especially for teams that haven't played us before.
Yeah, but I maybe at the end of the day, we're just being a little picky. We ended up getting a 3-0 win. But yeah, I guess it would be nice to see us be a little more dynamic in our style of play and be able to change it depending on how the game script ends up changing.
Yeah, for sure. And like, do you feel like we've kind of like settled in on the season a little bit? You know, like now that we can actually say, okay, it's not just a fluke or anything like that. Like, you know, San Diego FC has this kind of culture, the way they play. They're like a solid team that's to be reckoned with, you know, after 7 games.
I was about to say absolutely when you were saying your whole point, and then you say after 7 games, I'm like, wow, it blows my mind that it's been after 7 games. But yeah, I would say so. Any game that we play, I look at the schedule, I think we can win any single game. And I don't know if it's a bit of an arrogance for being like the new kid that's actually done well, and once you've kind of gone through a season, that might change. But I think any single game we play, we can actually win it. What about you, Milcar?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to feel that way. I think there's obviously still a little bit more to kind of like unpack a little bit. I mean, there's 34 matches total, and so we're what is that, like a third or a fourth of the way in almost?
Yeah,
So
roughly.
yeah, 20-25% of the way in. I think we're definitely starting to find our identity and kind of how we play, and that's something that I think we've talked about since day one. Like the kind of high flying offense, high press, really ball dominant, making sure we always have possession. That's kind of the style we like to play with, which it's nice to see that we're continuing it. However, like we've had injuries. We still haven't really had all the players playing the entire time. So I think there's still like a lot to test. I think once we get to like the All-Star break or like kind of halfway through, that'll be a good test on what we're really doing. And especially when we start seeing teams on the like second leg, basically on the back half of the season, seeing how people have adapted to playing us once already, and that. But I think it's super positive for sure.
Yeah. And you could maybe also look into the opponents we've played. I'm looking at the standings right now, and the best team we've played has been Columbus, which we ended up drawing 0-0. Or was it 1-1?
That was
I think it
1-1,
was.
I think.
Yeah, so we drew with Columbus 1-1. So we did not get the win there. And then and they're on the Eastern Conference. Then on the Western Conference, we lost to Austin, currently sitting 4th. And then the next team that is currently in a playoff on the 9th spot, so basically last playoff spot, would be LAFC, which we beat 3-2. Real Salt Lake, we won. St. Louis, we tied. Seattle. So basically, we've played the teams currently 9th through 12th on the Western Conference, and then LA Galaxy at 15th, which is last. So maybe, yeah, once we have slightly more competitive team, not that the other teams haven't been competitive. So a lot of the games were pretty close until later on sometimes, or had a close score line. But maybe, yeah, once we play the teams that are currently top of the table, we might measure the team a little bit differently.
Well, I guess that's what's coming up, right? So we have Colorado coming up; they're in 7th place. Then we have Charlotte, which is in 4th place on the East, and
Shout
then
out April.
oh yeah, big Charlotte fan. And then after that, we have Real Salt Lake, which is also up there. Oh, they're in 10th place.
Right.
But so the
Second go
next,
around, yeah.
yeah, and so the next two matches, I think are going to say a lot. Then you know the Colorado and the Charlotte match will really tell us, you know, at least give us a good measuring stick on
Yeah.
where we stand with the top echelon of teams, and see if we play up, because you know we're fans of various teams that when they play bad teams they play terribly, when they play good teams they play well. So let's hope that that's the same way, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting just to see how we get through the next stretch of games, and some of them will be away too.
Yeah, I think we have the next next 2 games away, right?
Yeah. And you know what I was thinking too? In the NHL, when the Las Vegas Knights had their first season, they did really well. And there was a story that it was because since it was in Vegas, it was the first season that they had a team in Vegas. A lot of the opposing teams would go out or just like partake in a lot of what Vegas has to offer, which is a lot of clubs, a lot of like parties. So they were usually playing like hungover or like just not at 100% just because they had like a night the night before basically. And San Diego's not like a crazy party town. We have a lot to offer, but so I couldn't see like something like that taking place, but maybe people are like, I wonder what the players are doing when they get to San Diego. Do they get in the day of the game or they get in the night before, depending where they fly from? Like, what are they going to visit? Coronado? Like, I doubt they're going to like the Gaslamp district and partying.
Hey, catch them at PB, man. They're a PB Short Club taking shots with, like 21, 23-year-olds.
I mean, a lot of them are around that age, so maybe. So if anyone's been out in PB and seen opposing players, please let us know.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. But yeah, maybe it's one of those hangovers where it's warm, it's nice out, you go to the beach, hang out, but
F6 maybe? Is that still a spot?
dude, I don't know if that's still a spot. That was a spot when we were going out, like 21 to 23. But maybe we just aged ourselves really hard right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think things are looking really good. I'm really excited, especially for the next couple of games. Will really tell us a lot.
Yeah, I agreed.
Cool. So speaking of really good soccer matches or football matches, we have the
champions.
There we go. Honestly, hey, I know we don't have the trademark, but we use it anyways. It sounded exactly like it.
Hey, when we upload the episode, if Spotify or Apple Podcasts flags it for having non-trademark music, I will be very flattered.
Catch
Mario.
Not
gonna happen, but yeah.
Catch Mario at your local karaoke, singing that song. But yeah, like you said, we have the Champions League. What is it? Semis now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The semis. No, quarters. We have the quarters right now.
Because I see 4 games.
Mario.
I think 4. No, I see 4 games, so I think 4 teams. But yes, it's quarters.
Yeah, the quarters. So we have some pretty good games. What's the game that you're the most excited for?
Well, Barcelona Dortmund, but from not that I think it's like a done deal. It'll be a great game, but I'm very excited for Barcelona Dortmund, and then Real Madrid Arsenal. I'm also very excited for, just because I feel like Real Madrid has not been in their best form recently. They still get results, surprisingly. They had a tough loss this past weekend, but it's a Champions League, and they just don't lose the Champions League. So I'm just curious to see what way they figure out to win. Not that Arsenal's been like on fire either, but I'm excited for that game in particular.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I'm most excited for. Obviously, I'm a little biased just because I'm a Real Madrid fan, but between that one and the Bayern Inter Milan game, I think that's going to be a really evenly matched game as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the other two are like the one that I'm least excited about.
Okay. What do you think about the Bayern Inter Milan game? Like, what makes you think it's going to be close, or if you had to think who's going to go through, what would be your guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think they play like pretty defensive style, which we already know Inter plays super defensive. But I think Bayern relies super heavily on Harry Kane. So the second Harry Kane isn't doing it, doing what he's supposed to be doing, scoring goals, they are a lot weaker of a team. Also, Alphonso Davies, tore his ACL. So prayers up to that guy. Hopefully he gets better. But that's a huge loss for them. Because, I mean, he brings the ball up from the left and just such a good shot creator. So he creates a lot of setups for Harry Kane. But so I think I think it'll be really evenly matched. I think the Barcelona Dortmund, I think, as much as I hate to say it feels a little bit like it's going to be one-sided. Like Barcelona's probably going to run away with it. And then the PSG Aston Villa, that also seems a little bit one-sided. However, that is my upset. I think if Aston Villa beats PSG, I would not be surprised at all with the way they're playing right now.
I hate to agree with you, but yes, I was thinking the same thing for a couple of reasons. So first of all, like, I think PSG, they have their league settled, and I don't know. Aston Villa, they're fighting for a Champions League spot for next year, assuming they don't win the Champions League this year. They're trying to get top four in England. So I just feel like they have a little bit more motivation, like in their day to day, to continue like working hard. Not that PSG wouldn't, but I could see PSG slipping, despite how good they looked against Liverpool. I would say in the quarters they might have been like the best team in terms of performance. But yeah, I could see PSG just for some reason dropping the ball.
Okay, I actually have a question about that. So PSG won their league already, right? So they have the
Yeah.
league already wrapped up. Do you think that's a negative, or like because they're going to be playing non-meaningful games, maybe they kind of get their head out of the game? Or do you think it's a positive, like they're going to be able to rest all their players and just kind of solely focus on the Champions League?
I think in this case it's a negative. And I think it's a negative because they've already been cruising through League One. I think they have like 8 games left or 6 games left, and they already
Mhm.
clinched it. They have a 22-point lead over Marseille. So I feel like it's hard to simulate an intense game, especially at this stage. So I feel like they're going to come after. I guess they settled the league. It's like officially this past weekend,
Mhm.
but they've had it settled for arguably 3-4 weeks, you could say. So I think it's really hard to go from kind of cruise control to just stepping it up a notch right away. So what I
Yeah.
could see actually is like PSG dropping the first game and then it kind of burns or lights a fire under them, and then they come back and get the win and go through on the second leg.
See, I don't know. I think that I would much rather have the League One, just because of the amount of games these players are playing. Like when you take a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, Arsenal, the league is not super close, but like a Real Madrid and Barcelona, I think more specifically, like they're fighting for the league. So
Yeah.
every game means so much. Like you can't take anything off. And I think we've learned probably the last like 5, 10 years, like the mental side of the game is so important and something that people didn't really think about before. But like the mental stress you go through prepping for a game that it's like a must win is like, I don't know, so stressful, so much anxiety inducing that I think that takes a huge toll on you just as much as the physical does. So having to basically mentally and physically be worn out much more and then have a more fresh team, I think that will make a huge difference. So I think in my opinion, I would rather have the League One and just really focus like all your energy on the Champions League if that was possible.
Yeah, but I just think in this circumstance, like if you look at the 8 teams left, who would be the teams that just by name value you think are the weaker ones?
I mean, by name value specifically, I think we'd probably go Dortmund, Aston Villa.
Exactly. So like I think PSG, if they were playing like a Real Madrid, a Bayern, a Barcelona, even an Arsenal, I think they can come. Not that they're not going to come prepared, but I think like okay, this is going to be an intense game, and I'm sure like at this level they value all the opponents that they face. But I just feel like it's hard to like just go from like a certain intensity because to your point where like Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're in a tight league race. I think it kind of keeps you in a certain rhythm where you're just playing consistently. So I find it more difficult to go from playing at one intensity level and then changing it and then back to like a different intensity level. And maybe it doesn't work that way at in these professional leagues, but I just feel like in this circumstance, it's kind of better to be playing competitively. Like Real Madrid a few weeks ago, they had the loss to Betis, and they had a lot of like commentators were saying like, oh, they're like messing up, and then they had a really dominant performance in the Champions League like 3 or 4 days later. I think that's kind of beneficial. Like so, similar situation this past weekend, Real Madrid had a tough loss by 1 goal, and then I think they're gonna come play Arsenal and do pretty well despite playing at Emirates.
I mean, I think Real Madrid is probably not the comp we should be using just
Yeah,
because historically they've just found a way to do it. I think just in general, I think the stress of the games is a lot. But I mean, it's a different competition, different teams. Also, like that when you're playing league games, these teams inside and out. Champions League maybe a little bit less, so maybe that also factors into it. You haven't played these teams as many times. Like I can't remember the last time Arsenal played Real Madrid. That was with Henri like
Oh, I
Probably.
saw. Yeah, it was actually. I saw a graphic. It was the semis of the 2006 Champions League final, or yeah, 2006 semis of the Champions League.
Yeah, and then I think it was Henri scored at the Bernabeu, right? And that was the kind of sealed it for them.
I don't remember that one. You're probably right because I think they ended up losing that final to Barcelona.
Hmm.
If I'm not mistaken. Uh, so yeah, you might be right.
Was that the Invincibles season?
Oof, I think that was earlier. Let me see.
Yeah, I wonder if it was,
Well,
but yeah. So like, but I guess all to say while you're looking that up, all to say that I think they're not as familiar with each other, so it's a lot harder to play against. Or I don't know, maybe I actually flip that. It's I think a lot easier to play against a team you haven't played against very often, versus like in like we're talking about the Spanish league, like you played against Valencia, you've played them every year 2 times for the last forever, so you kind of know their tendencies a little bit more. You know the style they play, a little bit more complementary to each
you
other,
can fine tune your
whereas.
team a little bit more too because you've already have a lot of points of reference.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal plays a very different style. Like, I mean, just the Premier League is a very different style than the Spanish league. So, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a super good game. That's probably the most competitive game I think we're going to have for sure. But yeah, so like, what are your predictions? Let's write these down so we can talk about them next week and see
You're
Let's see if you go
smart.
0 for 5 or 0 for 4, I guess this time.
I think I went 4 for 8 last time, right?
I don't know, man. I went 8 for 8, so that's all I can
You.
say.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Okay.
Let's give myself a pat on the
Um.
back. There we go.
Okay. Bayern Inter. I gotta go with Bayern. My birthday twin Harry Kane. Um. Barcelona Dortmund. Barcelona. PSG Aston Villa. I. It's gonna stick with PSG because I think you might pick Aston Villa. And you know what? Real Madrid Arsenal. I'm gonna go Arsenal. Only one of us can go for four.
Yeah, there you go. We're just talking about the first leg, right? Or are we talking about moving forward
Oh, I
entirely?
was talking moving forward.
Oh, moving forward entirely. Oh, okay. Well, in
Yeah,
this
because
case,
first leg I actually could see Aston Villa winning the first leg.
okay. I think it'll be. I'll go. I think it'll actually be Inter will beat Bayern. I think Barcelona will be Dortmund. I think Real Madrid will be Arsenal. And oof, this PSG Aston Villa is probably the most toss up, but I'll take the opposite of you. I'll take Aston Villa because I would much rather play Aston Villa next round as a Real Madrid fan than playing PSG because PSG when they're on, man, they're really hard to beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess so. It's like a fun question I was thinking about here was, would you rather play your first match at home or away, like the first
Oof.
leg?
Hmm. I would rather play my first leg away
Why?
because I feel like you play away, and if you get a draw, for example, you feel like you're leaving there with the win because if you go back to your stadium and then if you can I just feel more comfortable playing. I would feel more comfortable playing at home, coming in with the draw because you have like obviously the home field advantage. So I think there's more, yeah, more in your favor at that point. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with that. I think um, you can play a really defensive game the first match if you're away, and like you said, if you get a draw, even if you get a loss and you only lose by 1 point, you're still pretty confident that you are playing at home the next match. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're at home and you draw or lose, you're kind of thinking, "Dang, I'm screwed."
Yeah,
Honestly, even if you play your first leg at home and you win by 1 goal, you're still a little concerned. You're like, oh, okay, like this is not enough. Like only up by 1 goal. There's no away goal advantage anymore. Like a 1 goal is just not enough, man.
yeah. We saw that with the Atletico Real Madrid too, where
Hmm.
like Atletico seemed very happy going down 1-0 at Bernabeu because they were having the next game at home, and then Atletico scored literally like I think a minute in. So yeah, it was basically no lead at that point. It was a 0-0 game, but with 90 minutes more to play at home for Atletico.
Yeah, and I think you're always confident going home that you can do kind of anything. So, yeah, even if you're down 1 goal, down 2 goals, you're like, oh, we're at home, we're fine. Like we're going to play in front of our fans, and like I don't know. That's just crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
that can happen. So yeah, I think that's the best thing. And I guess I say that because I mean Bayern's playing at home first, Arsenal plays at home first, Barcelona and PSG. So a lot of the big names, and I guess you would argue like the top teams in these legs or in these games are playing at home first, except for the Real Madrid Arsenal, because Arsenal was a top ranked team and Real Madrid kind of barely snuck in.
Yeah.
So that's why I also think that Real Madrid will have the advantage, because I think coming back home in the second leg, that'll be a huge advantage for them.
That's a really good point. And looking at it, all of my predictions to go through are actually playing at home the first leg.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know.
I'm already behind, and it hasn't even started.
You're already like, dang, maybe I need second guessing yourself. Maybe you got to change your predictions now, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I mean, in my opinion, I think the team playing second has an advantage. However, if you have one of those where it's like a 3-0, you're thinking, all right, dude, the tie could be over in the first leg, like we said.
Yeah. Like Arsenal did with PSV.
Yeah, that was pretty sad, you know. But let's do our last segment real quick before we finish up. Well, I guess we have 2 segments left. We can't forget about the pitch of the week this week, because I know
Oh, yeah.
I got a lot of complaints last week because we forgot the pitch of the week. So, but last I'm going to round the pitch, which we're going to try to throw in there every segment, just to talk about kind of some news around the football world. This time we actually have 2 topics, and they're both about coaches. Funny enough, which I feel like don't get as much love as they should. But the first one, which you kind of teased last episode, is like the reports that Real Madrid are considering Jurgen Klopp to replace Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid amid interest from the Brazil national team. So Klopp is currently like the global head of soccer for Red Bull. So what do you think? Do you think he should? I mean, I guess both sides. Do you think Jurgen Klopp should come out of retirement and come back to play or to coach? And do you think that Real Madrid should pursue him?
I think Real Madrid pursuing him. I think they have a pretty good thing going with Carlo Ancelotti. So I think it would depend on what Ancelotti ends up doing, if he goes to Brazil or not. But yeah, I think any team would want him if you're looking for a coach at that stage. Because yeah, he's at Red Bull, and does he have other things to prove? He hasn't coached in Spain. He's a young guy. He's 57. So yeah, I don't see why not. If you're going to coach in Spain, I think Real Madrid is probably one of the best, if not the best place to coach at.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess you can argue that as of right now, Carlo Ancelotti is probably on the hot seat, just because if you don't win a trophy with Real Madrid in one season, that's kind of recipe for getting canned. And as of right now, they're in the running for a lot of them, but like you said, they haven't been playing pretty well the last couple of matches. There's been some, questionable starting decisions, especially in the back line and things like that have been a little bit concerning, which last year is what we praised him for doing, playing through all these injuries. And this year it's been a little bit more difficult for him. So I don't know. I think for him, probably the Brazil job is super enticing because how historic that team is, and the fact that they're not doing well, and that's not doing well is an understatement for what's happening, for the national team. So, I mean, if he were to leave, I'd be very happy him going to Brazil and just not coaching any more club teams. That'd be amazing. But I definitely feel
why not coaching any more club teams?
I don't know. It's just I think he's a great coach. So I think when there's a chance that he's coaching against you, it's concerning. Especially if he goes to like another big club like that and can turn it around. The way we know, like he's an amazing man manager. So we know that he could do that well. But if he goes to Brazil, he'll have half of Real Madrid basically on the Brazil team. So I think that'll be beneficial.
It amazes me too that he can win the Champions League the previous season, and then this season, assuming he doesn't win the Champions League and he's in the hot seat as you're mentioning, to come quarters, worst case scenario, finals in the Champions League, and maybe second place in a lot of other big cups, including La Liga, and that gets you fired after like what he's been able to accomplish like previously, like just for one season alone. is it more the standard of excellence at Real Madrid, or is it kind of maybe unrealistic expectations? At the end of the day, it's a very competitive sport, football, and what do you think as a fan?
I mean, I think for us right now, it's you had a team last year that won the Champions League, won the league, and you could argue, I mean, I don't know how you argue against this, but like they got better, right? They got the best player in the world in Mbappe, and now they're playing arguably worse, right? Yeah, they lost Toni Kroos, which was obviously we can see now was much more impactful than we even thought. We knew he was amazing, but like now you're just like, wow, he literally ran that team.
Yeah.
So you're gonna say like they got better, they signed better, more players, and they're playing worse. So I think that's the big like think about if they had gotten second place in the league last year, or maybe like they lost Vinicius or lost to Rodrigo or something like that, then you're like, okay, there's some excuses there, but it's the same team almost, and they got better, and now they're not potentially not going to win some of these things.
Assuming they don't win any of the trophies we mentioned in La Liga, the Domestic Cup, and Champions League, would the Club World Cup make it worthwhile? Or you're like, nah, that's not enough?
I mean, I think there's always something to say about winning the first one ever. And I think that's why they're going to put a lot of weight towards it. And I think all the teams are going to put a lot of weight towards it. I think it's a cup that a lot of people might think is like another shoe-in, just something else that we're doing. But I think these clubs are going to put a lot of importance to it. One, because there's a ton of money on the line for that winning that cup or even advancing pretty far. And two, it's the first one. So being able to say that you won this first Club World Cup is going to be a huge thing. And we'll get into it in a later episode, but there's like, I think some very interesting dynamics about being able to get a couple of players on loan to your team that, aren't necessarily on your team for long term that you can just kind of take for like a month or two to play. So there's a lot of rumors obviously with like the Ronaldos of the world and things like that. So I think maybe we can touch upon that, on a different episode for sure.
Oh, we definitely will during the summer break. So then just consensus then, Jurgen Klopp, you would want him or would you not want him?
I think there's no way you say no, right? Like,
Okay.
I think if Ancelotti leaves, then, I don't know how you say no to Jurgen Klopp. But the thing is, like, Xabi Alonso has also like been such a great coach, and he's a Madrid legend. So it's a little bit rough to know that there's a potential or like a world where he was potentially waiting for this job and didn't take a Liverpool job last year or the Chelsea job that were all open and kind of waiting for the Real Madrid job to open up. And then he gets, passed up and it goes to Jurgen Klopp, which is arguably one of the best coaches as well. But, him being a Real Madrid legend, I think it hurts a little more.
All right. You get to pick Amilcar. You're being asked, who do you want?
I think if Ancelotti was to leave and I had the choice between Jurgen Klopp and Xabi Alonso, I'd probably go Xabi Alonso. I think he's just younger. What he's done with Leverkusen has been wild. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp did some great things with Liverpool, but then there's also some seasons where he what the team wasn't as great. And obviously, the coaching isn't everything, right? But it's a lot of it. So I think I would go Xabi Alonso. The legend comes back. Hopefully, he has a stint like Zidane had, and is able to.
I don't know. Can anyone replicate that?
I mean, I don't know. Back to back Champions Leagues. He won 4 in 5 years. Like, yeah, he did some crazy stuff, man.
I mean, we say it now and then someone does it. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So let's save the last one for next week, just so we can wrap it up with your pitch of the week.
Okay, my pitch of wait. I actually need you to go first.
I don't have one, so you are going to go first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why. Hey, I had one, Mario. Come on, this is your segment, okay?
I did have a pitch of the. Okay, actually, it came back to me. My pitch of the week is actually ChatGPT. Amilcar and I were trying to create this popular like trend right now where you create like an action figure of yourself, and we uploaded a picture of us, our logo, and for some reason the faces look nothing like us, and always one of us is bald. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the first one you were like 5'3", and I was like 6'4", like I was huge, and you were 5'3", and I was wearing glasses for some reason, and then the other ones are like people were just bald all the time.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I hope ChatGPT is good, but I hope it's not say in the near future.
I know that would not be great. And it's funny because one of them looks like our friend Ricardo, like looks identical, like a spitting image of him. And we're
He
like,
has
okay,
hair, Ricardo. He has hair. That was
yeah,
not
yeah,
bald.
yeah. Disclaimer, yes. But yeah, we're like, okay, please, make hair or add hair to the guy on the right. And they're like, it added hair to the guy on the right, but took it away from the guy on the left. I'm like, oh my God, none of us are bald. Please understand this.
Yeah. So I think we finally got something that's kind of passes like us. So we'll post it on our Instagram. We'll also post the ones that didn't quite look like us. So you can check them out, and they're at _pitch report.
Amazing. And then, yeah, so for next week, we have obviously San Diego FC's playing Colorado. Really good game. Really excited for that one. And then, yeah, we'll be back probably later this week, maybe do some post Champions League conversation. Yeah, so just
Amilcar is going on assignment.
I don't know what I'm going to watch, but yes, I will be on assignment in Japan starting, Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be in Japan.